Welcome to Find Your Clear Vision, a personal branding and mindset podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Guillot. I help high-performing leaders like you reignite the connection to your highest self and design your life and brand from the inside out. I'm a blend of bright colors and deep conversations, tarot cards and strategy decks, bluegrass and Tribe Called Quest. If you're looking to bring your fullest expression to your life, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey there! Before we hop into this week's episode, I wanted to share with you an email that I received from somebody who is subscribed to my email list. She writes, "Hey Lisa, I wanted to let you know that your weekly emails are my favorite." And favorite is in all caps, which I can totally get behind from a typographic perspective. She goes on to say, "My goal is to read and delete emails as fast as my eyes will allow, except for yours. Thank you for sharing your positive spirit and inspiration with me." Friend, if you aren't on my email list yet, I want to invite you to hop on the list and be the first to know about my free masterclasses and workshops and how to uplevel your mindset each and every Saturday morning with inspiration and motivation. You can sign up at bebrightlisa.com/get on the list. And I'll see you in your inbox Saturday morning. Let's hop into the episode. Hey, everybody. Hello. Julie, Matt, Peggy.
Morning.
Good morning. I haven't seen you in a spell, Peggy. Hi. I am so honored that you guys are here to spend some time with me today or on the replay. However you're viewing this, I had so much fun pulling together the content that I'm about to share with you because I, first off, love personal and professional branding and how it shows up from both like the mindset perspective and how it shows up in the real world. Because that's like the secret sauce is how do we actually show up with the energy we want? And then how does that translate out into what we're focusing on today in the pop-up workshop, which is visuals and the 6 elements of your style guide that we're going to take a look at today. So as we dive in, there are 3 things that you're going to walk away with by the end of today's pop-up workshop. And the first one is the mindset, the self-awareness, the story you may be telling yourself about why you haven't launched yet, the first step to take to launch, to put yourself out there in a bigger way, and then those 6 design elements that we need to launch. And in fact, you've already got one done. We can already check one of those off the list. So if I haven't met you yet, my name is Lisa Guillot, and I am a creative mindset coach and personal and professional brand strategist. I started my career in graphic design and branding, working with big companies like Crate and Barrel and Paper Source. I worked in-house. I worked at a marketing studio, design studios, had my own graphic design brand strategy studio for many years before I started becoming and training to be a transformational leadership coach. And that's what I do now is weave in the mindset work with the strategy of how to show up and be the most vibrant version of yourself. So today's recording and session is going to be available for the next 2 days in the replay. I'm going to send you guys a page after this with the replay in it. And on that page, there's actually a bonus for you that I don't want you to miss. And that is to sign up for 20 minutes with me to talk about what your first step is going to be or what that mindset glitch that you're having that has you stuck in the weeds with your personal or professional brand. Because listen, once we actually like take a look at what that limiting belief, what that thought is that you're holding, it will no longer keep you stuck because you're going to be able to call it out. You're going to be able to move forward without the like cringiness that sometimes we hold on to when it comes to showing up with our personal or professional brand. Because listen, each and every one of you has a voice to share, and who you are in the world is so much more important than the reasons why you're not doing it or you're doing it very quietly, right? So today I'm just sharing one aspect of what it means to build your whole brand, and that is the visual aspect of it, which is honestly a lot of fun. So as I pull up my screen here, I want you in the chat to share with me, who is somebody that you look up to in terms of their personal or professional brand, or somebody who, when you see them on Instagram or Facebook, you're like, that person, I love what they do. I love how they show up, whoever that is for you. Put that in the chat. For me, it's a mixture of people, to be honest. It's, I've got like Reese Witherspoon. I love watching Jason Momoa, who maybe you know him. He's going to come up in a minute here too. Yes, it's a good question. We need to start paying attention to the people who we like, what they're doing out there, because success leaves clues. Aw, Peggy said me. That's cheating. You can't say me. But I appreciate that. Okay, let me pull up my screen and then pull you back over here so I can see you. All right. Can you guys see me and the screen? Yes? Cool. Okay. So as I said, yes, there's lots of things that go into building your personal or professional brand. And here is just some of the moments. Brand structure, positioning. Who are you talking to? Your audience, your offer, what it is you are quote unquote selling, or what impact do you want to make? I also really like to focus on your clear vision statement. So as you know, my podcast, Find Your Clear Vision. CLEAR is actually an acronym. C is your clear concept. L is it legit and long lasting? E is expanding your energy. A is aspirational results. What do you actually want to accomplish by showing up? And then R is rooted in celebration. I believe everything that we do should be rooted in celebrating not only ourselves, but others. And like simply being here on planet Earth right now is a reason to celebrate in and of itself. And in fact, celebration is one of my like core values. If you want to learn more about that clear vision framework, go back to episode 27 on my podcast, because I break it down on how to build your personal brand using that clear vision framework. Each and every one of these moments, actually, I have got hour-long trainings inside of my Clear Vision U program. But right now, we're just going to focus on that visual presence. Okay, but first, let me share with you, like, what the heck is a brand? What does that actually mean? So here is my celebrity crush, one of them. One of my celebrity crushes is Jason Momoa. I just mentioned him. He was Aquaman. He was also in Game of Thrones. He was the Mother of Dragons' husband, if you may remember. Okay, yes. This is my other celebrity crush. This is Seth Godin. Now, he is a marketing guru, and he is the author of at least 24 books. And I'm a graduate of his marketing seminar program. And here's his definition of branding. A brand, I think this like very much applies to personal branding too. And I'm going to break it down for you. A brand is the set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, taken together as a holistic experience, account for a customer or client or employer or nonprofit or audience. It clarifies that decision to choose you over a different product or service or individual or candidate, whatever it may be, right? It is the holistic view of expectations, memories, stories. Notice in that moment, he doesn't actually say the word design. There's no design in his definition of what it means to build a brand. What we're doing is building awareness. Visuals are a small part of that awareness. So what I say is that personal branding, when it comes to you and who you are, how you're showing up in your personal life, professional life, executive presence, it is your mindset. It is your way of being expressed out there in the world. It's your energy. It's how you're showing up. And this is sometimes how it shows up, right? When we bring our personal ideas in alignment with the thing that we want to create and we desire out in the world, sometimes it gets pretty confusing. And if we're confused by it, undoubtedly, the people that we're trying to connect with are also confused. If we don't know exactly what our intention is, what we're aiming for, and what we want to create, they're going to be confused too. So that's why today we're going to form and create brand structure. And here's why oftentimes we may be stuck in the weeds. It's our mindset. It's our mindset. I'm going to share with you, I think there's 6 of these reasons why we're stuck in the weeds. And in the chat, I want you to call yourself out. I want you to tell us what is your favorite reason why you're stuck, right? What's that one thing, maybe 2 things that are holding us back? So one of these probably is true for you, right? We all want to be liked. We all want to be liked. We all want to belong and feel safe. And when we go out on a limb, when we share our values, when we share what we really want, even with like a partner, for example, it's scary. It feels lonely. We're out there kind of like, it's vulnerable, right? So that's one of the reasons why we may not be launching. Another one is you may be embarrassed what your mother-in-law or friends may think of you. Yeah, I know my mother-in-law follows me on Instagram and Facebook, and she doesn't understand what I do. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get it. I love you. I get it. But you're not my target audience either, right? Again, this kind of anchors back to wanting to be liked, but also notice we're worried sometimes that we're going to receive social backlash. Sometimes we're worried that if we showcase our successes or our accomplishment, that, well, that's not how women should act. That's not how you should show up online. So we start, quote unquote, shoulding on ourselves, which again, dims our light. Or how about this one? Well, I need to get a degree in that before I do that. I need to be certified before I do that. It's just another way to put time ahead of us actually showing up. And listen, many, many women are judged based on performance versus men oftentimes are based on possibility, their future possibility. So no wonder we think, well, there's always so much I need to learn. I need to know all this before I do that. Or how about I need to be perfect before I do that? That's mine. I'm a recovering perfectionist. That's absolutely mine. Or who wants to listen to me, right? I see that in the chat here. In the chat, we've got, well, who would want to listen to me? What do I have to say, right? Or here we've got, well, I'm too busy to show up in the way I want to. Another in the chat, sometimes it can be scary, yes. And then we should on ourselves and we feel unqualified, right? We bring all the reasons why not. And listen, this idea of like, well, who would want to listen to me? I just launched the 50th episode of my podcast after hemming and hawing about it for probably a year and a half of even launching. But I finally got to that milestone and I looked up online how many top charting podcasts have female hosts? Only 20%. 80% of all top charting podcasts have male hosts. That means their voices are being heard. Your voice needs to be heard. That is your permission to do that. Or how about this? It's selfish to have a personal brand. Yeah, these all kind of have the same flavor, right? Julie in the chat says, also kind of nervous about what it would look like if it was a success. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Sometimes we think, well, what if I fail? And then on the other side, the flip side of that coin, what if I succeed? If you succeed, the next thing that comes to mind when we get nervous or scared is that, well, then things are going to have to change. How would I be able to be present for my family, my kids, work out? So it's really just the flip side of the same limiting belief. All of these have a flavor of imposter syndrome to it. And imposter syndrome is like a pattern of doubting yourself, doubting your skills, your talents, your accomplishments. And you think you've got everybody else fooled, right? You've got everybody else fooled to thinking, well, she knows what she's doing. Or sometimes we fool everyone else to think she's just so busy. Or when you do create something awesome and fun and worthy of being shared and celebrated, we credit that success to, well, I was just really lucky. Oh, no, that was my team, right? We just like deflect, right? And so notice it starts to tangle a really tight web of all the reasons why not. But listen, all of these ideas are thoughts and beliefs that you're currently holding as truth. And that's a beautiful place to hide from building the future you desire. And just think, what if we took that idea, that thought, that limiting belief, as if it was like a little thing we could hold on to, and we put it into a backpack, and then you put another one into that backpack, and another thought, and all of a sudden it becomes really heavy. And so you stop. And I don't want to play that game, right? So just imagine if you took the backpack off and set it down on the ground. You're welcome to pick it up at a future moment. But if we set down all those limiting beliefs, all that imposter syndrome, all those reasons why not, and just set them down and decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and move forward anyways, because I want to create and start to build my future on purpose. In order to do that, I have to use my voice. I have to show up. Don't let these reasons stop you. It's just a gorgeous little way to hide who you are. All right, you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Is that making sense? Yeah. So here, quickly, okay, we're going to dive into the fun part here now. Limiting beliefs, mindset work, that is a huge component of what I talk about and train on in my Clear Vision U program. But today, we're going to be focusing more on the fun stuff, on the marketing stuff. But before you decide to like launch online and share your thing, I always want to know, what's your intention? Why are we doing this? What for? What do you want? What is that aspirational result? So in the Clear Vision framework, A is aspirational result. And so here are some ideas, right? You want a new job, a new career. You want to increase your executive presence, build a new income stream, gain new clients, start a speaking career, build your legacy, right? You pick whatever one it is you want to do, and that's your laser focus. That's how you build your future by design. Focusing on this rather than focusing on, well, what's my friend going to think? What's my mother-in-law going to think, right? This helps us stay laser focused. Pick your aspirational result. Then, yeah, Peggy's like, well, I want it all. I hear you, sister. I hear you. But we got to start somewhere, right? We're going to pick one. We're going to start there, and we can grow. Absolutely. I'm going to share with you a personal brand that started somewhere and like blew up. Okay. Here is a beautiful little graphic I created a few years ago when I was trying to be a perfectionist. But what it really comes down to is highlighting the 6 things that you need in your personal or professional brand. What's the difference between personal or professional branding? Not much. Professional branding leads to thought leadership and really being targeted in building executive presence with a laser-focused intention. Personal branding is mindset and building, I would say it's a little bit more loose. But we are not like becoming Kylie Jenner, right? We're not building that type of personal brand. we're still staying focused with our intention. Okay, here. So we have got your name. That's the first part of building a brand. And guess what? Friends, you've already got that. You're done. You're done with that one. Oftentimes in business branding, we also build a logo. You don't need that. We don't need that right now. Tone of voice is number 2. Color, typography or font choice, photography, and your gimmick limit. All right. I'm going to show you what each one of these means, and then I'm going to show you examples of them. Tone of voice. I don't know if you had like a mom or a teacher that was like, watch your tone with me. That's what tone of voice is. It's the words that you're choosing to express. They show up as energy. Your personal brand is a mindset expressed out into the world. The words you use give out energy, and it attracts that energy back. So your tone of voice, every single person here, your tone of voice is different. It is your own. It is unique. And if you don't know what your tone of voice is, ask a friend or ask a colleague, ask a client. And I have my clients do this. This is like the very first practice that we take on when we're doing work one-on-one. This is how you build your personal essence. Who you are at your most vibrant self is your tone of voice. So you ask, what type of energy do I bring into a room? What shows up when I do? Because you know when somebody walks into a room and they're fun, or somebody walks into a room and they bring this energy of like seriousness, let's get it done now. Or even that person, that author, I often think of authors as being maybe more quiet or subdued because they use actual written word versus their own energy when they come into a room. But notice, you can tell somebody's energy and their tone of voice sometimes before they even say a word, right? Is that true? Yeah, I can see it too. Okay, gimmick. This is your gimmick limit. Everybody gets one. That's it. It's your one thing that stands out. When we have too many things on, like Coco Chanel says, before you leave the house, look in the mirror and take one thing off. Now, do I always fall for that moment? No. But I'm kind of more of a maximalist versus a minimalist. But when it comes to branding, we want to help our audience, the people that we're talking to, know that, oh, Andrea stands for this and this and this, and visually, this is her gimmick, right? Peggy, same thing. Visually, when I see her and what she's all about, what she's selling, this is the gimmick. So for me, for example, my gimmick is bright. Be bright, Lisa. And I talk about your clear vision. I talk about creative mindset and branding. I don't talk about my cats. I don't talk about what I had for breakfast, right? Those aren't things I show up and highlight in my social media or in the articles that I write, for example. That's not what I'm all about because I'm trying to help my audience focus so I can meet my intention. So that's your gimmick. Color. I love me some color. Okay, so with color, an easy way to find out what color suits you is to go look in your closet. If you opened up my closet, for example, you would see that I have way too many jeans, first off, and then I have a bunch of shirts that are coral and bright blue and white. A couple new white ones I've recently added to my collection. So look in your closet or notice what color do people say you always look good in. That's going to be your color, right? Easy. Done. You can also choose colors for your personal or professional brand based on the seasons. So here we've got fall is jewel tones, rusty tones, super gorgeous. Winter, we've got lots of neutrals and creams. In springtime, lots of pastels, the flowers blooming in the springtime, green colors. And in the summer, it's super citrusy and warm and bright, right? I tend to lean towards summer colors. So these visuals I actually found on a website called design-seeds.com. So Design Seeds is actually started by this woman. Her name is Jessica Kolaluka. And I went to her site yesterday because I've been using design seeds to find inspiration for colors for like a decade. But the search function wasn't really working so well, and I couldn't search by season. So instead, I popped over to Pinterest, and she has got all of the color palettes here on her Pinterest board. So Pinterest is an amazing example of how to, if you have your intention in mind, you can pop in to Pinterest, go in there, find your colors, and then get out. Like, get out as fast as you can. Because otherwise, it's like a wormhole, and you're going to be stuck in there for a very long time. So get in and get out. But here, you can even find like a color palette you're attracted to. Click and drag that photo onto your desktop, and then click and drag that photo into canva.com. Canva is kind of like the easy way, quote unquote, to design your personal brand. In fact, I use it a lot now myself, and it will automatically pull up the colors from that photo for you. So there you go. Now you've got your colors. All right. Photography. This is number 5 in our personal brand style guide. Do you need professional photographs of you? Yes, absolutely. Even if you're selling a product, the founders page of a product-based company, a tech-based company, even if it's an app, the founders page, the About Us page, is the most visited page of any website. They want to see you. They want to see you and get to know you so they can know, like, and trust you. So I did an episode all about how to work with a professional photographer. It was episode 34. So pop over there and listen to that. And it's going to give you details on how to dress, how to use your makeup, how to pose, because posing is a really big deal, right? So I just started to search for like headshots or personal brand photo shoot inspiration on Pinterest. And here's a couple of ideas that showed up. So these ones are very natural. They're obviously professional, and a lot of them are in a studio. Notice how you can use your arms as an element to either like cross yourself off or to open yourself up. And in that episode, I actually talk a lot about where to place your arms or how to use your arms to represent a mood, for example. Like over here is a picture of, I think this is Dakota, gosh, what's her last name? She now actually dates the guy from Coldplay, and she was in 50 Shades of Grey. Dakota, and I'm forgetting her last name. Anyways, she's gorgeous. I love this photo of her because her arms and her legs are an element in and of themselves. So gorgeous. Okay, here is another example of photography. Very different than the one I just shared. So this one, for some reason, Pinterest labeled it as free spirit. And I think that's because it's got a lot of color in it, a lot of pop. And also notice these women are smiling, laughing, and also very serious at the same time, based on sometimes just the location of their hands and what they're doing with it. I love this photo of this woman here in this bright yellow dress with like a purple background. And she just looks like she's giggling. And you know what? She's giggling at nothing. She's giggling at nothing. You just gotta fake it with photography. You really do. And then down here, notice, that's so you, Lisa. I wish I want a picture of that, of me like that. Thank you. This woman down here who's clutching her waist, right? She got the power pose there with the elbows out versus this woman to the left of her with the arms closed off across her chest. They both kind of represent strength, but when you cross your arms in front of you, it actually gives me the idea that you're a little more closed off. So yeah, pop back to episode 34 on the podcast because I give a lot of details on how to basically be ridiculous when you're doing a photo shoot. And I have had a lot of good luck. I've got a photographer here in town that I love, love, love working with in Chicago. But if you don't have a photographer you love working with, I suggest going to snapper.com. And that's SNAPPR.com. And I've used them before. When I was in LA hosting a masterclass workshop with NBC Universal, I hired a photographer from snapper.com. His name was Hector. He showed up and we just like walked around my hotel and around and looked at some palm trees and did some totally like this is a Midwestern gal in LA shots, but they were great. And it cost like minimal. It was like $150 or something. It's totally ridiculous. And from them, I have a lot of photos to use on my social media. So it doesn't have to be a really big deal, but I absolutely want to suggest you need professional shots and think of them more as lifestyle shots and have fun. Be ridiculous. All right. After photography, we now have typography. So typography is font choice, and it absolutely does matter. Now, this may be where you would want to use a designer to help, because certain typefaces, again, I can do an entire podcast episode just about typefaces because I love, love, love them. But ultimately, you know as well as I that people don't read. We no longer read. We scan the headline, the header, the biggest type on the page. And if we're interested in the header and the headline, which is typically maybe 5 to 10 words, then we're going to read the subhead, and then we're going to invest time in reading the body copy. So we've got to grab their attention with the header, the headline, and then the subhead, and then the body copy. And you have got to edit yourself. In the Clear Vision U program, my membership program, I don't have the book right next to me, but the book that we're reading this month in the Bright Book Club is called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And his charge in terms of typography and word choice is to write out whatever it is you're writing about and cut it by 50%. Because you are barely going to have the attention of a goldfish when it comes to you wanting to capture the attention of your audience. So here on this visual here, this is just an example of one of the Instagram stories that I use to promote my masterclass and the headline treatments that we use there. Typography, we just got to be consistent with it. And an easy way to build your typography is to, again, go to canva.com, because they have over here, you can see in this black bar here, they've already got headline, subhead, and body copy that looks great. They've already got these like style guides in terms of you can just pick and choose and set this one for you. And then the name of the game from that place is to be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. Okay. So there we've got the typography. All right. What are we moving into next? Ooh, yes. Okay. So now we're going to take a look at the Bright brand breakdown. Do you guys see how I did that there? Threw in my gimmick into what we're doing next. All right. So I know I keep sharing with you about my Clear Vision U program, but that's where a lot of these ideas come from. Each month I break down a brand, and I'm kind of giving you some highlights here today so we can see how these 6 elements come into play and like flush out through a brand. So here is just a quick sketch of Reese Witherspoon and her brand structure. So we're not talking about brand structure today, but you can see how it started. She was an actress. I think she starred in a commercial at like the age of 14 or something. And then she became the empire that she is today. So Forbes listed her among the world's 100 most influential women in 2019. And just last year in 2021, Forbes named her the world's richest actress with a net worth of $400 million. Okay? She's doing something right. She sold her company down here, Hello Sunshine, to a group called Blackstone Media for $900 million. Crazy pants, right? Super crazy pants. But we know her because here is her personal brand breakdown. So she's actually a great combo of a personal and professional brand. Her colors, she's got like this gingham blue, that's like that seersucker blue, bright yellow for the Hello Sunshine, and a creamy white. Her photography style, she's got a photo shoot here for Draper James, which is the brand she owns. clothing store. You can see the colors. She's got herself with some soft serve ice cream. She's got her book club. Even in her book club, you can see the background also has that like gingham blue and some lines here. Her tone of voice, sassy, bold, and definitely 100% women-centered. And her gimmick is that Southern charm. She can like turn it on, right? Can you guys see that? And then visually, you can see how that plays out into her Instagram, for example. So here on the left-hand side, I took a screenshot from her Instagram page, and you can see she's got the blue color popping up in the background. It's easy for her to weave in herself because she's amazing and a brand in and of herself, but she's got that blue popping up. And then over here on Hello Sunshine's Instagram page, it's a little bit more consistent, right? There's a formula for this is how we use quotes. This is how we use photography. These are the colors we use. We've got that yellow. We've got that blue. So then as we move through and we see something like this image pop up with a professional photography done, but also with that swash of yellow, we know it's Hello Sunshine. Boom, like that. Okay, next brand I want to highlight. So this is Rachel Rogers, and she wrote this book. I got it right here. We Should All Be Millionaires, which was one of the books that we are reading right now in Clear Vision U. This is part of, ready for the gimmick, the Bright Book Club. So she's fantastic. Her gimmick, millions. She thinks we all should be millionaires. And she's created a membership to help women, particularly women of color, LGBTQ community, to become millionaires through her business coaching and mindset work. So her photography style, you can see here, and you can just pick out the colors that she uses. She's got this like really like royal red, green money, right? And then this like beautiful dusty rose. Now her tone of voice, I have to pull this up so I can read it. This is absolutely spot on. So I was combing through her sales page for her membership because it's really, really, really well done. And I went through the FAQs, and down at the bottom of the FAQ, here is one of the questions that just epitomizes her tone of voice, which I love. Okay, so the question is, quote, I'm very uptight. I absolutely cannot tolerate cursing of any kind, rap and hip hop lyrics, or discussions about grown-up subject matters like money, relationships, or, heaven forbid, sex. Nor do I tolerate fun of any kind. Should I join your club? And her answer is no, period. Next question. And I was like, boom, there's her tone of voice, right? So how does this flow into Instagram, for example? So here on the left, we've got her personal Instagram page, Rach Rogers Esquire, ESQ. And you can see we've got that green, we've got the red, we've got that dusty rose. I love this because look, she's got the same picture twice. Different messages, but the same picture. I love that. We don't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be unique, right? And then here on her company, which is more of a professional brand, although she's the founder, right? We have again got the color, red, that rich green, some taupes. We've got a picture of her book, and you can start to see the consistency flow through here. Couple more real quick. I got two more for you, and then we're going to share what your first step is going to be. So here's a real life person that I really know, Jenny Stevens. So Jenny Stevens is the co-pastor of the church I go to in the West Loop here in Chicago called Soul City Church. And she's recently launched a book. Actually, I'm going to her launch party on Monday. It's called What's Here Now. Here is a picture of that. And you can see her tone of voice. She's compassionate. She's tender and loving. Tender is a word she uses a lot. And you can see in her coloring of that dusty rose, that ochre, and that taupe, it's also very tender. Now, some people might not like this when I say her gimmick is God, but it is. It is. That's why people gather at her church to talk about God, talk about Jesus, and transformation. You can even see in this picture here, which I believe is the picture she chose. Oh, no, it's a different one in here. This is a picture that was recently on her Instagram. It's got those colors. I also love how she's folding her hands kind of in what might be like a traditional prayer pose, but she's leaning in and she wants to like know you. That's the feeling I'm getting from this photo, right? Okay, now to juxtapose that, here is screenshots of not only her Instagram, remember, compassionate, loving, tender, but her husband, who is also a pastor at the church, Jarrett Stevens, and then also a screenshot of Soul City Church. So Jarrett Stevens, he's got mostly like Black backgrounds, lots of quotes. He's more like irreverent, bold, loves those Nike shoes. He's a hip hop DJ. He's got a definite different tone of voice than his wife. Then when you look at Soul City Church, same thing. It's kind of a blend of the two, but it's really its own standalone brand. So the reason I'm sharing this with you, this particular moment, is that all of these brands here particularly, the gimmick is God. You can have the same gimmick. You can work for the same place. You can do the same thing, right? You can be in real estate. You can be in sales. You can be a coach or a consultant or sell CBD, right? I know somebody here does that. But you do it with your own flavor and you stand out because of who you are. So here we go. This is our recap here. These are the steps I want you to take. You now know the 6 elements of your personal or professional brand style guide. Your first step is to choose one of them and email me. One of them and email me. I'd pick color because I think that's the funnest one. The color is going to make you stand out and it's going to bring you joy. We want colors that bring you joy. Another step you can take is to go back and uncover what is that limiting belief that's holding you back. And realize that who you are is so much more than that limiting belief, that thought that you are holding as true. So much more. And remember, I'm also going to send you the replay page. On the replay page, I talk a little bit about Clear Vision U. You can take a look at that. I only really open enrollment for folks that I know and for people who have attended a pop-up workshop or my masterclass, because I want to know that you are somebody who's going to take action. So on that page, I have got a link where you can book 20 minutes with me. And I really want to encourage you to do that because even 20 minutes can like pop you into what's next for you. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Let me click this button. And thank you so much for joining me today. Like this was so fun for me to create these visuals and to share with you what it actually looks like to see a brand in action like we did with Rachel Rogers and Reese Witherspoon and digging into, whomever you notice out there that may have a personal or professional brand that you really love. Start to notice those 6 elements because success leaves clues. All right. Now remember, email me or DM me. What is your first step? What are you going to do? What element are you going to take on? And bonus, by when? Because that's going to keep you in action. And that's what I want to do. All right. Thanks so much for joining me and keep your eyes peeled for that replay page. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Find Your Clear Vision. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe something we talked about sparked an idea, or maybe you are ready to start your journey. If so, you can find me on the contact page of my website, bebrightlisa.com, or on Instagram at bebrightlisa. If you're feeling extra luminous, please rate and review Find Your Clear Vision on Apple Podcasts. I read all of the reviews and so appreciate the 5 bright stars. Remember, you, my friend, are a dazzling light, and your clear vision is so needed. Until next time, be bright, Lisa.